You ready? You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter here. You won't be hearing this today, so I'll say happy Thursday from the past. But hope you're all having a good one wherever you're at. I'm really excited. I've got two people on the interview here today. We're talking about the latest film, Queen Rising. I've got the star of the film in April Hale, and I've got the producer and director of said film in Princeton James. April, Princeton, good morning and good afternoon again to y'all. How you doing?
Hey, I'm great. How are
Yeah, how
you?
are you? Yeah, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. Happy Friday, also to you both. Uh, so
Yeah.
I, so I'm gonna jump on in. So I've actually watched this twice. I watched this to start my week, and then I watched it about 3 hours ago. Um,
Cool.
I We're gonna stay away from spoilers as much as we can, but I will just simply say I love where this ended up. That last
Oh,
10
cool.
minutes, that last 10 minutes, I was like, oh, son of a bitch, like in the best way. My partner even like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, I want to tell you, but you should watch this for yourself. So so Princeton, I'll ask you first, sir. What was it about the script that I believe it was Allison Channing, I believe, wrote? Um,
Yes, yes, yes.
what was it about the script that made you go, okay, I have to direct this?
It was a lot of things. So one, I thought it was a pretty cool story, and I thought it would have been fun to direct a psychological thriller. And then two, I knew that the writer and the EP, Henry Reeves, shout out to him, he wanted to make this film in Memphis. And I was like, oh, I know so many talented creatives in Memphis, and just to get an opportunity to work on a diverse set would be amazing. And then three, I just prayed about it. I got a good feeling about it, and I was very nervous to do it because it's my directorial debut as a for a feature film. So I had never directed a feature film before, so this was my first time. And I was once I contacted Jordan Daniels and it's just and Jamal McNeil and so many other mentors that gave me uh, a lot of guidance and advice on it. It just felt right. So I was just like, I'm gonna do it scared. I'm gonna do it terrified, but I know I'm gonna do the best I can. So yeah, so I was so drawn to direct it, and those were all of the aspects that helped make my decision.
I will say, considering this being your directorial feature film debut, if this is your floor, man, you've got a hell of a future ahead of you. I really
Thank
dug your
you.
visual style. There's one sequence in particular that actually made me go like, "Oh, I love that decision." There's a moment where Madison is like kickboxing, and you do these
Oh
like kind of like
yeah.
these like frame shots that like very
Yes.
comic book like panel-esque, and I went, oh, visually I love that choice. Like
Yeah.
was that an intentional thing? Because that really stood out to me in the best way.
We were intentional behind like how we shot it, but I have to give high credit to Jordan Daniels, also Jason Thibodeau, who's a cam op on it. Jordan Daniels was also a producer and a DP, but Mitch is our whiz editor. He was a post production supervisor. Also, he edited the film, and when he started cutting on that film, I was like, yes, yes. He's always gives us a lot of options to work with. But when it got to that sequence, I was like, I love this. I may have gave like one or two notes on it, but we were like, love this. This is amazing. Got it. And then shout out to Myri, who was in that scene as well. He was a trainer in that scene. And that's one of my good brothers as well, Myri
Okay.
Jackson.
Okay. April, let me throw it to you real quick. Your character, again, without spoiling, there's a lot going on with her. There's generational trauma. There's her trying to find her own way. As a woman, there's her trying to find her way in relationships. And one thing I love about not only about how you're directed, but how you acted, is that you're going through the full gamut of emotions. There's a moment in here where you rolled your eyes at at your um at your roommate's partner that I laughed so hard at because you looked so fucking annoyed, and I was like, I actually had to pause it because I was like, okay, that like that felt like a situation you've been in before, and you're able to draw from that. Like, so talk to me, like, so can you talk to me about like playing Madison and like what headspace you're getting into to capture like the full gamut of emotions that you're able to?
Yeah, so the thing is, upon watching a movie like this, a person would think like, "Oh wow, like this woman, she has a lot going on emotionally." Like, and most people can't relate to it, but we really can relate to a lot of elements of people, even when they have issues, like a lot of trauma and drama and emotional, and make interesting choices in their lives. Everybody can pull something from a character that can relate in some way to their personal lives. And just like you just said, and that was a good moment that you captured, um, which was subtle, but it's so real, right? Because we can
Mhm.
all
Absolutely.
relate to that feeling and that annoyance. So it's like I just pulled from my personal experiences, whether it was like direct or whether it was indirect. And sometimes it's a subconscious feeling, a memory of a feeling versus a memory of an actual event, and it was fun playing Madison, being able to pull those different emotions out, because there are emotions that I can relate to, maybe not choices, but there are feelings there because we're all human. And so yeah.
Um, to piggyback off of that, I want to shout out the people, the actresses who played the young versions,
Mhm.
uh, of the characters, because you see kid actors and things sometimes, and like you're
I
like
know, I know, right? It's a
like
filler.
God,
It's like they're like a filler.
yeah, like God bless you, you're trying, but it's just not there yet. But I thought through the flashback scenes, I thought that added a lot of weight
Mhm.
to Madison's character in particular. And once you kind of understand that, it puts a lot in context. Princeton, I'll throw it to you. Can you talk to me about not just casting them, but going ahead and directing them? Because I thought those scenes were incredibly powerful and really important to the film.
Yes. So, shout out to the casting director, Phyllis Johnson, and her entire team for casting them. Um, but it was fun directing because when it comes with kids, it can go two or three ways.
Yeah.
You are not only dealing with the kids, but you
We didn't
only
say one or two.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
Two
two
or
or
three.
three.
Two or three. You know what I mean? Like because you got the kids and then you got the parents. So it's like so many multiple ways. But those kids were great. They came on set, they were focused, they knew how to take direction. They knew how to remain professional because sometimes kids can get like a little antsy on
And
set and
yeah.
they don't, but they listened, they knew what to do. They were very, very receptive to the notes and were able to deliver. So I think they have bright futures. I hope they continue to move in that
Same.
direction. And they really, really elevated the story. It was really needed scenes, and it helped us to not to give it away, but it was just some mirroring that you could definitely see in the movie. And there were certain scenes that were very pivotal that helped the overall gist and the overall experience when people watch this piece.
Were there any scenes? Was there anything left on the cutting room floor that you're like, ah, damn, I wish we could have gotten that in there, or it just didn't fit? Was there anything like that?
Yeah, there were some things that were left on the cutting room floor. There were a few things. Actually, the very beginning and the very end was left on the cutting room floor. And there was a few running scenes that made the trailer but did not make the film.
Really?
Just to make
Yeah,
sure.
Okay.
yeah, they made the trailer. They did. They did not make the film. There were quite a bit. Like it's a lot. The cutting room floor is pretty full too, but they say, they I don't know if you heard this, but they say it's always three different movies. It's a movie you write, it's a movie you film, it's a movie you edit.
Hmm.
So all three different pieces. So but I'm very, very happy with the movie that everybody will experience. I'm
Yeah.
super grateful that you watched it.
Okay. Is there any particular reason why those scenes were cut? Do you just think it kind of disrupted the flow or anything, or was it?
It was a few things. It was the length of the scenes. It was some scenes that really didn't need to be there. In filmmaking, it's like you don't want to overdo it, because people may
Yeah.
not be able to understand why, but they can feel when it's like, this doesn't feel right, or this scene doesn't, it's good,
Gel.
it's
Yeah.
well acting, it's amazing, it's a
It can
great
almost be
shot.
too deep sometimes to
Yeah.
you understand the writer understands it, the crew understands it, but then it's like, will the audience, will it translate enough?
Yeah, will it translate to someone who is experiencing this story? And then, like, honestly, when you have films, specifically a psychological thriller, they have to move. They have to have a pace and a cadence.
Yeah.
So you can't have anything that's going to like break up that pace or break up that cadence unless it needs to be in the story. So yeah, it was more like the overall gist, the cadence and the pace of it. Those are scenes that weren't needed. And
Fair
but we
enough.
still want to have it and not need it, then need it and not have it. Yeah.
So, since this is your feature film debut, what was the first scene that you shot?
A scene that didn't make it in. We were in
Oh, damn.
we were outside. It was a scene when Madison is running in the park. It's a very opening scene in the movie, and we were outside, and I was terrified. Well, I was terrified the whole process, and I was scared the whole
He didn't
time.
look like it.
I tried to hide it. I
Poker
started.
face. There you go.
Yeah, that's what it is. But I had so much fun, and I would encourage anyone to lean into your whatever you're scared of. But we were outside in the woods downtown Memphis, like in Harbortown area. That was our first scene, and yeah, it didn't make the movie. But I'm happy that we shot it. It was a
Yeah.
cool scene. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, so I appreciate that you've shouted out Memphis a couple times because I think a lot of people typically think, you can only shoot a movie in like let me think, like Austin, Atlanta,
Mhm,
LA. I feel like those are kind of like the ones that people go to. Talk to me
mhm,
about the importance of shooting in Memphis, like particularly, because I think like I personally, as someone who watches a ton of film, I
mhm.
actually like seeing areas that are different and not
Yeah,
just the same. Like I can see Chicago, New York, like
yeah.
have it memorized almost at this point. So it's cool to actually see a different area, a different part of the country. So yeah, talk to me about the importance of shooting in Memphis.
I think it's a building creative economy. It's continuing to develop and continuing to evolve. There's so much talent there, and there's so much talent that's from Memphis that doesn't live there. Case in point is we hired about, I think it was one, two, three actors out of LA for this, an actor out of New York, an actor out of Atlanta, and the rest were living in Memphis. Of those five actors I just named, four of them were from Memphis and they
Wow.
were living
Okay.
in other places. And only one actor in the film was not from Memphis, but we hired him from all over. So it just lets you know that we have
He's an
so
honorary
much
Memphian
talent.
now.
He is. He's the unreal Memphian.
He was claiming the M.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, he is unreal Memphian. And it's just so much talent. So and it's such a beautiful place to film as well. And then honestly, it's not as hard to film in Memphis that it would be in some areas that already have like
That's
so
fair.
many that are overly saturated with films. So we're just developing a creative economy here. So it's very, very important for us to highlight that and highlight that it's possible. So I think this film is a calling cards to say, oh, wow, you can make quality projects in Memphis and you can use the Memphis community and creatives to do that. I'm sure April could probably speak to that as well, being a Memphian.
Most definitely. It was so refreshing to be a part of a movie that highlighted the beauty of Memphis. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like everything is not about grit and grind. You know what I'm like Memphis
Yeah,
is a beautiful city. And so yeah, there's so much culture and the rest of the world doesn't know about it
Yeah.
because it don't highlight that part of it. And so I love the fact that, and it seems like it was purposefully done to film at these monumental landmarks in Memphis that we all know, but the rest of the world doesn't. And it just looks so beautiful. And I
Mhm.
really love the shot of like downtown and just there's just so much beauty. And I just enjoyed shooting all around my city, So that's just something that I think hadn't quite been done enough yet in Memphis. So
so April, I'll
That's
throw
right.
it back to you. One thing I love about your character and the way that you really carry yourself is like you do have this confidence even when even when you're like in these like very deep dark moments. There's this one moment where you're talking to one of your exes, one of your partners at the time, and they hit you, and this look that you had, I legit pulled the Homer Simpson disappearing into the bushes gif. I was like, oh shit, that look. Like I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Like yeah, exactly. Like I was actually scared. I was like, dude, you better like but you have this intensity that comes across so naturally with your charisma. Were there any scenes for you as a pro that felt like a little more daunting than others, like as far as getting to the headspace?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like I said, I don't want to give away anything, but there were certain moments where it was a bit more difficult, and especially after so many emotional moments throughout the movie, it gets to a point where your body tells you, nope, I'm done. And
Mhm.
Princeton remembers that was the moment where I needed to go there again. And I didn't realize until that scene that, oh, I'm emotionally I'm out of it.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
they Princeton and Jamal got together and did their little chat, and they came back. They said, okay, how about this? And they flipped it. I was able to, because I had nothing left. I had no more emotions. All I was doing was laughing. I was uncontrollably laughing. And I was like, I don't know how to, you want me to be emotional right now, and I can do nothing but laugh because I'm all out of it. But
Yeah.
they beautifully transitioned my intention to do something completely different, but
Mhm.
still worked so seamlessly with the scene. So
Mhm.
even at those times when it was difficult for whatever reason, they worked with me, and we it was just such a team effort that it was just like, can it be this way every time? you know.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
Mhm.
And she
Uh,
killed it too. We were just
she did.
we know that actors are not robots. Like they also get emotionally fatigued as well if you're having to do things over and over again. And she had to do a lot of stuff, a lot of stunts, a lot of, all that stuff. So we're just grateful that she was very honest with us and very like vulnerable and forward. And we were just happy to be able to collaborate with her on creating and being good stewards over what was supposed to happen in that scene in the first place. So super
So
excited.
talk to me about the stunt work, because like April, you're doing stuff in this movie. Like I mean, you're
Mhm.
doing the kickboxing. You get some actual like fight sequences. Well filmed, by the way, especially again for your first time. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm vibing with this. Like, can you talk to me about the challenges of like from the acting perspective of doing it, and then from the directing side, like making sure your actors and everything are safe and all that.
So, I had never done my own stunts before on other movies. There's always a stunt double, right?
Yeah.
It was very exciting, actually, being able to do my own stunts. First of all, being able, to actually take that on because it's a part of your acting as well. Um, but I was a little scared because I was like, oh my God, am I going to be able to pull this off? Am I going to be able to do this? But the thing is, they had everything mapped out. I went and got, trained for the things that I had to do, so everything, it wasn't too scary because like I said, everything was seamlessly placed a certain way to do it. It's like, okay, on this day, we're going to train you, with this person, this professional, kickboxing coach, or, and just Myri, it's like,
Yeah.
uh, so even though I had to do my own stunts, I worked with such professionals that I felt comfort in being able to pull it off.
Oh yeah.
And
Mhm.
yeah, and there was one moment, and that's my fault. I didn't stretch.
Stretching is important.
Stretching is very, oh, I will never not stretch again if I have to do some things. But I didn't stretch, and I pulled something, and I got scared. I was like, Kristen, I was like, I can't. I was like, I'm hurt. I'm hurt, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sorry. She's slipping my name, sweetheart.
What's her name? Which one? Which
She passed away.
Oh, Lindsay. Lindsay.
I'm sorry. It kind of
Lindsay.
slipped my mind in the moment.
You
But
good?
yeah. Lindsay, who was part of the crew, who's no longer here. We all love her so
Yeah,
much.
we love Lindsay. Shout out to Lindsay. I miss her so much. Yeah.
so much. Lindsay pulled me aside. She helped, like literally stretch me out. I was like, oh, she has an athletic background. Like she got me. And literally got to the place where I barely even felt it. And we went right back into it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
Lindsay was such a gem. Oh my
such a
gosh.
such a gem. She was a blessing,
Yeah.
blessing that whole set. But yeah, it all yeah, I would it told me that I can pull it off, that I can do it. I couldn't do
Mhm.
any crazy stunts, but this experience let me know like what my capabilities actually are. So
Yes.
I'm thankful for it.
It was fun blocking and covering those stunts too. It was just like a fun process. It's just choreography in a way, but it's really, it can be really taxing on an actor's body. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and that's even for like people who do it every day. They still have to take breaks and okay,
Mhm.
let's recover and stretching out those things. So super excited that Lindsay was on set to help April. And then we got to the point where we were like, okay, April has done enough. She's failed enough. Like she's hit the ground enough. Like, okay, you know what I mean? Like she's done so many times. Like, okay, let's give us one more and that's it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
So,
okay, just
Yeah.
one more. I'm like, one more or 20? What does one really mean?
right. Because one could mean 20 in this field, yes. But she did an amazing job. Amazing job.
I will ask just because like this is definitely obviously a thriller, but at the same time there are definitely some horror elements. There's a scene in the parking lot that I won't give away that I went, oh shit, like it came like in the best way, so out of nowhere, and it caught me so off guard. I was like, whoa, like, and the way you shot it from like you pan in from like the left, but you're looking out through the diner, like that shot in particular. I was like, Princeton. I was like, let's go. Like I love
Oh,
that shot, in
shout out to
particular.
Jordan and the entire camera team and the DP and everybody. I can't say enough about the crew, but I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh
Go
no,
ahead.
no,
I'm sorry.
no. Please. But I love that shot in particular. With that said, and your sensibilities, again, I think you have such a strong floor off this film. Any interest in going to the horror side, like going more in that?
Yes. I want to do it all. Like I really am one of those people. I really am passionate about like lifting up Black Southern stories and like, there's so many voices and so many unique perspectives that I feel as though should be amplified. But I want to do all types of films, like from comedies to horrors to action. Yes. So I would definitely, I'm glad I'm able to like check a psychological thriller off my list
Oh
and
yeah.
more to
Just want
come
to
in that
start.
as well. Yeah, yeah, I'm super grateful. But yeah, I would love to go into the horror space. Yeah.
Okay. April, I'm gonna ask you, again, no spoilers, but as a person of color, seeing you be such a strong character made me really happy because I think so often there is this black woman needs a man to save her narrative that even as a dude, certain directors push this more than than others, and
Right, right.
it's yeah, yeah, and it was really nice to actually see you completely go against that, and almost felt like the movie was screwing with us in that way because there are these moments where it's like, oh, here comes the man to save her, and then it doesn't go that way, and I was like, oh my God, so refreshing, like thank you. Like, can you speak to, was that something that attracted you to the script? And moving forward with projects, is that like kind of is that a focus that you want to have, like as far as having your own individual characters independent of like needing to be saved, as it were? Or...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not a focus, but it was refreshing seeing that. And I feel like because it allowed you to spread your wings, and sometimes women can be limited in,
Yes.
and we have so much more as a human to offer. So I really loved the power that she exuded because personally, in this world, so many women are holding it down in so many different ways. So it's like, why are you not depicting strong, powerful, women enough in TV and film? Because in reality, from women being single mothers, and that in itself is superhero in itself,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, to some of the jobs that some women are holding down. It's just it's a position that should be shown more. And so I was very attracted to it. So I would love to go into more roles of power, but I like to run the gamut. When it comes to roles, I
Fair.
like to I like versatility in general, but I was very attracted to that in that role.
I know we're coming up on time, so I've got two more quick questions for y'all. Princeton. There's a scene in the flashback with the dad, and and there's a story about a barn, and I don't want to give away the story because I think it's a really poignant moment in the film, but it was something that I actually had to pause and go like, wow, was that scene in particular? I love the way that's shot. I love the way you give the actors like the room to breathe and really express everything. And like I think one of the most unsung characteristics a director can have is to really let their actors just do their thing and actually take that step back and let them just do it. And
Mhm.
I think you showed a lot of restraint in that scene. And it comes across really powerful. It reminded me of several scenes in Soul Food, actually. That's
Oh
where my
yeah.
brain immediately went to. Can you talk to me about that scene and like the weight behind that scene? Because again, I think you knocked that out of the park.
Oh, thank you. So that scene was actually added by the writer of the film. He wanted
Okay.
to go back and shoot an extra scene, and we were like, "Oh, cool!" So we read it. Was like, "Oh yeah, that would be great." And but that story, that monologue that he did, was a real like I think that is a true story within his family.
Oh
I think that's some
wow.
monologue. That's a story that his dad told him about his granddad or his great granddad. And the actual guy who did that, he's a creator of the film. He's an EP. So that's Henry Reeves. He's
Oh
the
wow. That's
creator of
wow.
that film. And we just wanted to make it like really, really airy, really, really like, what I mean, mystical a little bit, but like a very well, grainy would be the better word. And just to create a space for us, for Madison to go back to that place of that was very, very instrumental in her developmental years of her experiencing a lot of hurt early. So yeah, that I was super excited with how we decided to cover the scene. Again, like I know I'm saying George's name a lot, but he really did have a lot to do with that. Because I'm a very collaborative director. I know what I want, I understand how, and I definitely know what I don't want, but I definitely want to, yeah, and I definitely like to create space for everybody to contribute because I think that's what makes the most beautiful work if we all contribute to it. Yeah,
I think that's what made this movie so special.
everybody contributed. Yeah.
So, last question I have for y'all. This is typically the question I end all my interviews with. When you get to the end of this movie, by the way, the last line that's delivered in the movie, mwah, that was something I was like, ah, it's like in the way it's delivered. Again, no spoilers. I just went, oh, that's awesome. Um, but as we get to the end of the film, is there a theme? Is there something that you want your audience to take away from this film once the credits start to roll? April, I'll start with you.
Uh, I think I want the audience to take away um no one no one can take your strength from you. Your life experiences make who you are, and you have a power that no one else can take. So that's all I can
Yeah,
gather in a nutshell.
Princeton,
that's
what about you,
awesome.
sir?
I want people to enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. This is an experience. This is a movie that will take you on a journey from the top of it to the last line, like you said. And I want them to enjoy the ride. I want them to enjoy the highs and lows, see themselves in areas, be inspired. Know that this was a community-based, a family film. We had a lot of fun behind the scenes, but enjoy the ride. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
And
All
it is
right.
a ride.
Yeah,
It's a ride.
it definitely is. April, Princeton, thank you so much for making the time
You.
This was such a great start to my day. I appreciate you both again. Like, if you could please tell people where they can see Queens Rising, if you could tell people about your socials so they can follow you and all that jazz before we get out of here.
As far as my social, I'm mainly on Instagram. I have a Facebook and things like that, but my Instagram is at I am April Hale. So it's my name, pretty simple. I am April Hale. So.
And my Instagram is Princeton_James, also Princeton James Productions and Soulful Murder Mystery. So we'd love y'all got support. And you can find the film everywhere. It's going to be on demand. So look up Queen Rising. You can rent it, buy it, download it, all those things.
It'll be Amazon Prime, Apple TV, YouTube, Vudu, like, DirecTV, many platforms. So.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then when's the film out? Just to hammer that home. It's out Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
18th.
The 18th, yeah, June 18th, just to put a date on it. Yeah, y'all. I will definitely tag y'all in the review when it comes out. I really enjoyed the ride, as you said.
Thank you.
Princeton, April, again, thank you so much for making the time. I hope this does well, and have a good rest of your day, guys. Thanks again for taking the time.
You too. Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, take care.